Hey, what's up? Welcome to the K-1 Agenda. Today is episode 144. Today is February 3rd, 2023. Today's episode, I'm very excited about this one. This is my monthly interview, and I'm doing a special interview with Shawe Scape. So get ready for that. It's coming after the Optic News segment, and we'll get right to it. First off, I'd like to say I'm still doing my morning workouts, and I'm working in the studio towards the evening. So I got everything on. Got some notes prepared of what tracks that I'm working on, just refining or maybe even remixing some of the stuff that I just decided to change it up a little bit. But I spend a lot of time in here now. Well, as I do every day, I do this for a living. Yeah, it keeps me busy, but at the same time, it is work. People think, yeah, it's nice to work for yourself. Yeah, it is nice to work for yourself, but at the same token, you got to put in the work. And nothing is more better than working for yourself and not have to deal with drama. So thank you, everybody. I always say this every week. Thank you for your support and thank you for watching the K-1 Agenda. Also, I want to announce this. In 2 weeks, I have a big news announcement coming. Once again, that's in 2 weeks. I'm not going to say any more big news announcements coming in 2 weeks, and I will convey that to you and get that to you in 2 weeks. But remember, if you'd like to check out my new NFT project, it's a project called KT-1, and it's with Damien, Roach, and Neave. It's available now if you want to purchase it. Always remember, go below where you see this video, all the links. You'll see the link for where you can go purchase this NFT, and also where you can purchase music digitally. My stuff is everywhere, man. iTunes, Tidal, Deezer, Beatport, everything. So all the links are below so you can find out where you can purchase everything. But let me start off by saying this. The NFT project was a lot of fun to do because they used my music, and I've got a lot more coming out, and I hope that you appreciate this. I hope that you would support and go out and buy my NFT. Here's a piece of it. And also the Aural Mining 2 project, which is on the Hardbonder label by Strand. I have 2 tracks on there, which is called Plan of Escape and Sector 9. Here's one track, check it out. This is only available for digital download. You have to go to Strand's family. I'm also going to put that link in this below this as well, so that you can go purchase the Aural Mining project, which is only available by digital download. So check it out. Also, check out my latest release, the brand new artful release called Fragments. It's my Optic Nerve moniker. It's called Fragments. It's PBX-36. It's released now on vinyl and digital download everywhere, worldwide on every platform. You can get it via digital download. Also, you can buy it from a lot of stores all over the world. It's a special artwork jacket, also with the white vinyl, colored vinyl. And I mentioned this before. I'm going to do at least once a year something special, a special art piece of my music that's made really for collectors. And remember, please pick this up, because once the white vinyls are gone, that's it. Not making any more. That's it. That's it. And it's a collector's item. And I'm looking forward to people buying more of these. I pressed a lot of them, and it's only one pressing, and I'm not doing any more. So thank you all for your support and for my Fragments EP. Also, pick up the PBX-35 Unidentifiable EP with DJ Maaco and myself, K-1. The first release is The People, which is DJ Maaco. Check it out. This is also available on digital platforms worldwide and available on vinyl. All distributors, if you want to get this vinyl, you can only get it from Puzzlebox. We manufacture it here in Detroit, and it's distributed through us. So you can always pick it up directly if you need to get into contact. All that information is just go below. You have all the information to where you can obtain the music and wholesale distribution and all that type of stuff. Check it out. Here's the track. DJ Maaco. And also on this track, I'm featured on this EP as well, On My Computer by K-1. Check it out. And keep in mind, like I said, once a month, the first week in every month, I always do an interview. So far, I've interviewed Brian Bonds in episode 131, Eddie Fowlkes, episode 126, Kech Harrington from Strand, episode 122, Brian Bonds, episode 135, episode 140, Ivan Sellers, and episode 144, the new episode today, features Shawe Scape. Check it out. That's featured in this episode right after I do the rest of my Optic Studios news. You can get all that information. And remember, new Alien FM coming in 2023. Studio sessions ongoing. I actually have some of this to do, and I'm also finishing up some other projects and stuff that are coming at later dates, and just re-editing some other stuff. But get ready for that. Also, K-1 DJ dates coming soon in 2023. That's all I'll say. Also, if you would like to book me for a live show for Optic Nerve, please contact Daniel at connectbookings.com and he'll sort you out. Now, get ready for a special treat interview with Shawe Scape. Thank you.
My name is Shawe Scape from Detroit. My record label is Andromeda Galaxies 313.
What are some of the what's some of your inspirations? Like, what are some of the other artists that you listen to? You know, from other countries. You know, whatever. Different styles.
Man, that's it's funny because that range is pretty big for me. You know, as far as Detroit here, in my beginnings, you know, it was being introduced to the sound. You know, it was the Aux 88s, the Wands, the Keith Tuckers. It was Drexcia, Doppler Effect, Stingrays. There's a lot of names that I could kind of list specifically in the catalog if I was listening to people from here. As far as in other particular countries, as I was learning about them, I actually came across a Matthew Deere record that used to be a favorite of mine. Max Durant, Kraftwerk, Anthony Rother, you know, just a lot of individuals who they really explore in the construct of what we do. And I want to say another big one is the Villains Inc., the Exotics. You know, the list goes on. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some names, but they know who they are in my book, most definitely. And,
All right, man. So how do you go about creating, like, what makes you create your concept, and how do you go about creating music? What do you do first, you know, like drums, string? What motivates you to come up with the title and all of that?
So the motivation and the concept part kind of comes in. I've kind of recently noticed that as of lately, I've been starting with my drums. And a lot of my earlier music, it was completely reversed. I was doing more of the ambient noise, ambient sound, pads, strings, sounds of outside, things of that nature. But it wasn't really, back then in my production, I didn't have the very strong presence of drums. When I noticed this, I really started focusing more on the drum aspect and whatnot, and taking a lot of, I'd say, advice and some critique here and there to kind of build structure more around my drums. And now I'm kind of at a point, funny to say, that I'm doing so much drum work now that I'm kind of losing my touch in my my overwork and my ambience and strings and pads and stuff like that. So it kind of depends on the mood at that time. Because, for example, my very first album, a lot of that stuff kind of started out with the ambient side. The second album was a little bit of both.
Now, concepts, like, is your stuff really heavily geared towards space, or where do you get your concepts from? The ideals for your titles and all that type of stuff? Because Detroit is notorious. We take that serious, and you are a Detroit electro artist.
Very, yeah. And you know what? It was funny about that is I didn't really notice how serious a lot of us took it, or even myself. But I think for me, if you know about Detroit, you know about Detroit. And for me, the basis behind it was kind of escaping the reality that I live in. That's per the name Shawe Scape. If you pay attention, the word escape is actually in it. And so when it comes to that, my imagination, my dream, I'm a lucid dreamer. I'm always thinking of either the future or the past. Mm-hmm. And for me, the past is always the future, and the future is always the future. So as confusing as that may sound, it makes sense to me. And therefore, for me, it's building these worlds around my own mental construct. Kind of like when The Matrix came out, I'll reference, I fell in love with The Matrix because it was kind of like it was exactly the kind of world that my mind goes and my productivity. I like to just kind of escape in my own imagination, my own world, and I'm building my own reality.
What are some of what's some of your inspirations? Like, what are some of the other artists that you listen to, from other countries, whatever? Different styles.
Man, that's, it's funny because that range is pretty big for me. As far as Detroit here, in my beginnings, it was being introduced to the sound. It was the Aux 88s, the Wands, the Keith Tuckers. It was Drexia, Doppler Effect, Stingrays. There's a lot of names that I could kind of list specifically in the catalog if I was listening to people from here. As far as in other particular countries, as I was learning about them, I actually came across a Matthew Deere record that used to be a favorite of mine. Max Durant, Kraftwerk, Anthony Rother, just a lot of individuals who they really explore in the construct of what we do. And I want to say another big one is the Villains Inc., the Exaltics. The list goes on. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting some names, but they know who they are in my book, most definitely.
Now, you wanted a few. I mean, you really haven't, I won't say haven't been around that long. I mean, you've been around the music a lot, but for you to, you have your own record label. Yeah. What made you want to start your own record label?
I'm going to be absolutely honest with this one. I wasn't really interested in, there was a time where I wasn't interested in having my own label, having my own company, or things of that nature. I just kind of wanted to focus on the music part. And I now know today that a lot of artists can kind of relate to that. You know, they don't want to kind of jump into that side of music or whatnot, and I can understand. But what made me, what kind of inspired me to do it is a lot of sit down conversations. Few of which, you know, with yourself, Keith Tucker, Aaron Carl, I definitely remember a very prominent conversation that he and I had, as well as Mike Banks. All very encouraging in owning your own content, owning your own stuff, your own publishing, your own work, and just making sure that, you know, it is you that is kind of creating your own art and owning your own art. And now that I'm on the other side of it, I definitely see and understand why.
Because with you, I know you was always around it. You're around a lot of people who are who've done it, who've been, you know, toured the world, and I mean, you've been around Resistance, Mike Banks. You've been around, you know, and you were down in Submerged for a while, so you've been around Juan Atkins, you know, everybody. So, I mean, that's a plus because you pick up so many things from other artists and you see what they're doing, and plus you hear the music. So the good thing, that's why I think your music is good, because you picked up a lot from everybody, but you still have your own sound. When I hear your stuff, I can tell it's you now. And I will say, you give yourself a little bit more credit, man. You came a lot further than we did, quicker. And I think it's because of technology and stuff, because we didn't have, you know, technology wasn't as good as it is now, but you have an ear for it. And that's the thing. If you can make people dance, man, that's one of the hardest things in the world to do. Electro is not easy to make. Mike Banks has said that to me before. It's not easy to make. So kudos to you for, you know, creating something different and owning your own stuff. I think you realize having your own label, you can just do what you like doing, the way you want it done, the way you want your music to be. So on that note, I have to ask you, I mean, what's next for you? Like, as far as the label and everything, do you hope to put out more music? What's next? Like, do you plan on maybe, I know you've been, I know you DJing in Mexico. I mean, you're going to try doing some touring or anything like that?
So looking to get that up and running. As far as what's next, I'll be honest. There was a recent time where I was at a point where, and from what I hear, we've all been there, and a lot of my peers been there, a lot of people I've looked up to have been there. There was a recent time where I kind of wanted to quit. You know, I was just gonna, you know, say, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and go back to this day job or whatnot, you know, because this stuff is not for the weak. It is difficult. But my love for it and where it is in my heart, my soul, and my mind, I've decided to definitely keep pushing through. So with that being said, you know, my next go-to, am I working on new music? Absolutely. I'm working on another EP right now, and I am looking to release on 2 other particular labels that I'm doing work for, as well as my own. Actually, we'll be dropping 2 this year on my own label. I have that in the works. And it's funny because Mexico City actually just reached out to me about 2-3 weeks ago, so we are in conversation of touring there. So that's in the works right now, and I'm in contact with some individuals in the United Kingdom, and there's a lot of people that's trying to lend a helping hand and whatnot to kind of get to where I'm trying to achieve.
Well, I'm sure that will happen for you because you run a label, so you deal with a lot of distributors. A lot of times that's how you can, you know, get a chance to go play in other countries, because they have a lot of parties and contacts and stuff. But hopefully, well, I'm not gonna say hopefully. I know you'll reach out and you'll get some stuff done. This is one question I like to ask everybody. My interviews are for people who I think are influential and got something to say, or just generally good people. If you could do anything, and this is off the record, a little bit different, what would you do to change anything about the Detroit or techno scene? This whole electronic music scene? If you could change anything, what would it be?
The dishonesty, if we're talking off the record. Things would be a lot different when it came to setting things on the table, being upfront, and being honest and whatnot. On record, man, I would say the things. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would change anything. Reason and my thoughts behind that is because in some parts, in some cases, the way that things has made a very strong breed of musical techno and electro animals out of Detroit. I mean, people who are like, you know, even some of the most slept on individuals, or even the people who are very well known. It's breeding a lot of tough individuals who, you know, they've been through it all, so therefore they're not gonna quit. Are there things that some of us artists out of Detroit or just period in the world are going through that we shouldn't? Absolutely. So there, you know, not to say that there shouldn't be any changes, because there definitely should. But I know some people, man, who, like, they, in my opinion, deserved their shot much long ago. And, you know, they're still kind of fighting just like I am.
Okay. It's 2022. I'll be coming up in 2025 on my 30th year for my label. Now, where do you see yourself, I would say like 5 to 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself and what do you think you'll be doing?
5 to 10 years from now, I'll start with the 5. I would say I am planning to be touring, like absolutely touring by then. You know, completely on the outskirts or outside of the U.S. here in the next 5 years. Few albums out that, you know, kind of really definitely shows what I can do behind the production. And definitely a lot of dope content and sets. 10 years from now, you know, I will say, I'll put it like this, something that is probably going to be beyond my imagination. Because from what I hear upon, you know, reaching certain plateaus, things kind of happen that, you know, are beyond some people's imaginations. But man, it's, you know, I just want to make music. That's kind of my main thing, making music, putting good content out. You know, I really appreciate the individuals who, those who've been listening to me from my beginning, those who are just knowing about me now, those who reach out, you know. I do respond and I do, you know, talk to my people, those who follow my music and enjoy my music. And, you know, and it kind of lets me know and feel that the content that I'm putting out is being heard and being appreciated.
Now, I had noticed it was earlier this year, man. I'm on Facebook and I always keep up with everything you're doing. And I look and saw that you have your music is used in a commercial. You gotta speak on that. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, that was facilitated by, if I'm thinking of the right commercial, because I think I've done.
Is it Snipes?
I've done. Oh, that one.
This is Detroit, or as we call it, the city, where we say what up though. There's no place like Detroit. There's no dance like JIT. JIT is our culture. Gritty, soulful, flashy, everything that represents the city.
JIT isn't only a footwork style. It's all in the arms, the hips, the wiggles, and the drops. Every time I'm out there and I'm in that circle, man, and I get that clap going, it's a release. It shows the flashiness, the style, and charisma of the city for show. I never seen nothing like it. I always wanted to be a part of the culture and be a jitter. 313 Day is a celebration of our legacy culture in JIT. This culture lives in us, and we're here to carry on the legacy from those before us to those after us.
That one. Yeah, that was, I did one for Snipes, and then I did one for Foot Locker. I thought you were talking about a recent one that was facilitated by JIT Masters, and I think it was played on CBS. There was an interview. But yes, there was one for Foot Locker and another one for Snipes. If I am recalling correctly, I got to give a big shout out to them, Mike Manson and her by short name is Gabby. I think Gabby was the Snipes connection, I believe, if I recall correctly, and Mike Manson was the Foot Locker connection. And it was very beautiful, very nice. I was surprised at the music that they picked, that they chose and whatnot. I sent them a few tracks. They said they were looking for some music. I said here. They said, hey, this is the one that we wanted, and they liked the one off the latest album, the Reconstruct Your Mind, and that was on Snipes. And the Foot Locker one had one that I have not put out yet. I'm debating how I'm going to go about that one. I am building a very unique project around it, but it's called We Are Detroit. And that one was on the Foot Locker commercial that was hooked up by Mike Manson. And it was a very brilliant experience. Those are great individuals, great people. Majority of the JIT community are, they're great people and great individuals. I just kind of wish the culture was much more on the map, just like how I feel Electros would be much more on the map. A lot of people think, hey, it's big here and it's big there and it's, et cetera, but it's like, it has its quiet moments, but nonetheless, it's definitely all love, and it's definitely beautiful for those of us who, we follow the underground.
I want you to speak on the JIT community and tell people what that is, if people don't know. And I know you heavily involved in the JIT community. A lot of the dancers, by name, you know them in person and stuff. I mean, my background with them was just they played my music. I didn't really know many of them. Although when I was in AUX 88, Tommy and BJ were jitters when I first met them years ago, and I was a DJ and they used to dance to the music. But
there's a clip of Tommy somewhere. No, I take that back. That's BJ. There's a clip of him somewhere that I came across. But I'll have to find it. But I was a part of the JIT community. In recent years, I've stepped away from it. For a lot of reasons that I'm not going to throw things under the bus, because I do love the culture and I love dance, but there's a lot of things that kind of goes on in it that disrupt my peace. So that's the reason why I kind of had to step away from it. But, that was, I can't, now that I realize, whereas I didn't want to speak about this before, I kind of can't not speak on it because of the simple fact that when, like I stated before, when I was younger, listening to the radio, I was a child in the basement, was supposed to be in bed for school, listening to the sound that's coming out of the radio. This music that's pumping in the late 80s, or early 90s or whatnot, becoming more prominent in the early 2000s. But then when I got into, I want to say the 6th or 7th grade, I got introduced to not necessarily the JIT community at that time, but the dance itself. And we danced to this music. And I mean, it didn't matter. It was a lot of Detroit stuff that came out. Ade, the DJ Assault, DJ Godfathers, the Maacos, Drexia, Doppler Effect. They got a real, they were very familiar with Alien FM. Some of the favorited tracks that they would jig to has came from Alien FM, has came from Aux 88, has came from Wine, has came from
DJ Assault.
A few with DJ Assault. and some of that day, just a lot of artists, until there was a few of us, myself, DJ Ace, I'll throw DJ Polo in there as well, Chandler, who we and Fingers, more so me and Ace, because we really like, one, we really focused on it, and two, we didn't have any holds barred at all. We were introducing a lot of the deeper catalogs of artists, not only from Detroit, but from Trezor, from Japan, from wherever they were from. If the music was dope and the music was hitting, we were playing it at these jet parties. And there was so many like dance battles and big competitions and things that were going on around this particular time. And what's crazy is that the DJs know about where this catalog and where this music and where this content is coming from. And what's happening, or what has been happening for years, is that a lot of the dancers would go to these clubs where they're only playing this music for maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. It all depends on who it is and who was willing to push the bar. Versus, you know, you had a lot of some of your more so underground DJs. I remember going to a Tech Man party, and he played mixes for like 2 hours. and at that time, this was a regular party where you would hear, you know, the hip hop music and stuff like that. But when they came to the mix part, if there was some people, hey man, you know, put on some Tupac or something like that, they'd be like, all right, as soon as I get done playing this DJ Assault, this DJ Godfather, this Alien FM, et cetera, et cetera. And so what a lot of the dancers do not know is that there are many parties that goes down, not only, well, I won't say many, but there's a few parties here where a lot of that content is still played. And unless you follow the artists, even these particular artists, like Direct Drive is a very popular one amongst that particular community. Parallel Universe, when that one dropped, I can't even remember the DJ that broke it. That broke it to the JIT community. I want to say it might have been, it had to have been Fingers or Don Q around this time that first broke the song, and I was surprised that they did, because I didn't know that they still followed the artist. But like when Parallel Universe came out, everybody was like, oh man, you know, da-da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, the same individuals that made all these other songs that you guys have been dancing since they came out in 2000, in 01, in 02. And I'm like, there's so much more content. So
I'm glad you stated that, because that's why I have, I love the community and I love that they dance to a lot of the music, but they still don't know that there's so much more, so much newer stuff, so much music that's better.
They're learning more now. They were until I kind of stepped away. I think I'm not sure if
you don't realize that you was hipping them to a lot of stuff that they didn't know, because I didn't start hearing some of my other newer stuff till, you know, when I saw you at some of the events. Then I started seeing some other DJs playing it after you played it, and that's pretty much how it goes, man. Sometimes these guys just stick to playing what they hear other people play. You know, they don't go out and seek like a real DJ goes out and seeks the music. And I think that's kind of what separated people like myself, Ace, even I got a shout out to D Swin in that particular area, because we don't care. If we like the music, we are going to play it. Gotcha.
And if we enjoy the sound and we feel that this sound is banging, we're gonna also introduce this particular sound to you. So when it came to, for example, a lot of the other DJs kind of sticking to the norm because they already knew that worked, is, you know, we were still breaking these new particular, oh, they got something new out, let me hear it. Oh, that's hot, I'm gonna drop it. whether they like it or not, I'm gonna drop it. And 9 times out of 10, they loved it. One of the favorites that's new that has came out is the Keith Tucker and Max Durant Digital Systems.
Oh yeah, that's old, but we have a new fusion coming out. But I got you. But I know you.
It's new.
I know you're right when you say that. I have to remember that. And you was the one who got them on that.
Yeah.
On that
When
track.
I remember I played it. It was they called it a Jitnik. The X-Men dancers who specialized in Detroit Jit. I want to say it was between Ron Hall and John Nance who facilitated that event. I could be wrong. There might have been a few others. But I remember I played it at that particular picnic. It was a lot of people. A lot of people came out, and when I played this particular song, Digital Systems, they came to the booth to stop the music to ask what the hell was that, and and that was when I was just kind of like, man, they've been putting out some stuff. There's still so much more. So, I hope that I know Ace is still borderline still in that community or whatnot. I always, he digs, he follows a lot of the artists. He's a great DJ. I've learned a lot of things from him myself. And I'm sure he's going to be introducing more sound to them because I'm going to be making sure that he has those sounds too.
So, what's your feeling about the I guess it's the movement, the Paxahau Festival, which is held here once a year? How do you feel? Do you think that's a great thing? I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, but I mean, what's your feelings, personal feelings about it? Do you think it's a great thing? You're, really excited when it comes up, or what?
I'll be honest. I am excited when it comes up for different reasons and personal reasons. I will say that just during that time of year when Paxahau kind of do their thing, it does bring a lot of people out that you either haven't seen all year round. We do get a lot of people here from out of town and out of country and whatnot. I see that they've been digging a little bit more at gathering a little bit more of the Detroit artists, but it's so many. I feel like that there's so many great potential artists that are looked over. Even if it's not myself, there's you got Nick Speed, you got I wish I could remember this guy's name, but he's dope. I went to a set of his, and it was absolutely great. You got the Ken Clements. I would love to see Maaco play a festival here. There's just a lot of...
Yeah, I talked to Maaco, and I think he's never played here before.
No, I think he played once. He played once. And actually Serge was here for that.
Okay. That might have been when they had the clump, stage with all of the...
But that was still very, very long ago. That's still like the early 2000s. So I would say what I would like to see more in that, just in my friendly opinion, is much more of an electro presence.
Because it's not a music. It's not a music that went out of style. They always try to say that. It never did die.
No. It only so about that. I'm glad that you said that. Electro isn't that. It's never been a thing that died, and you have it only. This may ruffle some feathers, but it only died to those who ride the wave. It only died to those who they bandwagon jump. I know people who, like a lot of people, they know nothing about neo soul, but neo soul is very prominent, and they have diehard followers. They have people who, they follow that content, and when you go to those particular events, it's beautiful. But when you tend to try to have that conversation about neo soul out in the norm, it's a lot of people. You get some people who's like, well, what's neo soul? And it's just like, you got to be kidding me. It's a very beautiful sound, and you have maybe it's probably every 2 to 10 people who may know exactly what neo soul is, but it's still very prominent, it's still very existent, and still very there. But because it's not the united popular wave, so to speak, or whatnot, a lot of people may think it doesn't exist. So it's the same thing with Electro. For me, Electro never died. And one of the main reasons for me that Electro never died is because I continued to follow the artists that didn't stop making Electro music because it was more money in a different genre. I get it. We all have to pay bills and things of that nature or whatnot. This is true. But one of Aaron Carl's, I'll quote him. If you what's the quote? If you do it for the fame, don't do it. If you do it for money, don't do it. Do it because you love it. Do it because that's where your heart is. And the more that I have gotten into this, the more that has spoken to me. Having recent conversations with Maaco and what he does it for, like why he still does it and his reasoning for it. He's not necessarily chasing the bag. He's chasing the movement of the love in it. So for me, a lot of the guys who were spearheading things in the beginning, they never stopped. Doppler Effect was still putting out stuff. The Exalticus was still putting out stuff. Aux88 was still putting out stuff. Alien FM was still putting out stuff. Keith Tucker was putting out stuff. Strand was still putting out stuff. Like the list kind of goes on. And even outside of here, you had your Stingrays, you had your Galaxians. I recently came across a lot of other content that was put out in earlier years by the Villains, by Max Durant, by Anthony Rother, by Inter. I forgot to mention him earlier. Got a friend named, I think his real name is Gattis Palisters, I believe. I'm hoping that I'm saying his name right. He goes by the name Uhu. Think he's in Halifax.
Okay.
Man, another guy, Alien Sex Toy. These were people who, when I really started doing my digging in the late 90s, early 2000s, from the early 2000s up until now, they were still putting on content. So for those of us who still followed it, it never died to us. There was still so much more new content coming out.
Okay, this one. So, for you, what has been the worst thing about the electro scene in Detroit? And I've never asked anybody that question yet. You're the first person.
The worst thing that I've seen in the electro scene in Detroit? Something that it's not enough. A lot of people overseas, they think that we have like big, huge, crazy like electro or even techno bass style parties here, and it's like no, not here. That stuff goes on in other countries, but not here in the city. It's not. One of the ugliest things is that it's not. And it's funny because I'm surprised that this hasn't been said or brought up yet. But just being real and being absolutely honest, there's not a ton of everything here is mostly house music, which is cool. I love my house music or whatnot. But for those who are looking for different genres of stuff or whatnot, there's not really much to choose from. It's either, the rap music, the trap music, the hardcore club stuff, maybe some soul, maybe some R&B. But then when it comes to electronic music, it's here in Detroit, it's mainly house music and house music, so to speak. So to me, it's just not enough electro here. It's very different when we leave from here and we go and we play elsewhere. When I played in Mexico, I did a mainly electro set, and it was insane. It was it was absolutely insane. When I went and played in the Dominican Republic, same thing. It was absolutely insane. I've been to a few parties here, and man, I'll say even I won't name drop or whatnot, but I've seen some very prominent individuals who have tried to do electro parties here in this scene in Detroit, and maybe if that 15, 20, 30 people come. There's that one-off where during a particular part of the year here, it's massive, and that's only the month of May.
That festival.
Yep, it's only the month of May, but all year round, nah, man, that's the reason why a lot of our guys are not here. Okay. We're more recognized and much more respected outside of Detroit than in Detroit. But
now, a piece of advice I'd like to give you is I think you should stay just the way you are. As far as the best advice I could give you is, man, keep in contact with all the different individuals. I heard you mention a lot of names, so you stay in contact with everybody, and that's good. You want to have, because they know that when they need you for something or something go down business wise, you'll get an answer back because you respect people enough to give the same to them. I would just tell you that's my personal advice that has worked for me. If you just be that dude who handle your business, and when people get with you, get back with them, man. Yeah. We got too many ways to reach people now. I mean, everybody has things happening, but just a simple text message just to say this or whatever, that helps a lot. But on a good note, I would just like to ask you, what have you loved the most about doing this style of music? What's been the greatest thing for you? That you didn't expect.
That one hits in the heart. I want people to know. So two-part answer to that. One that directly answers that question, and one that kind of touches on something else. Part of the reason why I got into this and whatnot is because, like I say, it was an escape for me. It was my peace, so to speak. My yoga, my inner quiet down. And the more that I got into it, the more that I felt at peace doing this. And to answer the question directly with that, the thing that kind of touched me in doing this is the people that kind of that have reached out and said, hey, I've gotten things like, I've gotten emails like, hey, I was feeling down one day, and, I was going through my playlist, and, I'm cleaning up, I'm vacuuming, and I'm hear your song come on, as I'm cleaning up, and it really, kind of, it put me in a better mood. It grabbed my imagination and things, and they kind of were just explaining how it, without words, it did something positive for them in changing their energy. To hearing other individuals saying, hey man, I've really loved this song or that song that you made, and when I played at the club, the people felt it, they felt me, and therefore they felt you. Those responses and feedbacks are absolutely everything to me, because if I can move you from where I am and create some type of help and some type of peace for you from where I am, that's golden. I'm big on it takes a village. So
this is my final question. I want to touch on this particular person because I think he was Aaron Carl. I just want to say Aaron Carl's name. He died way, way, way too soon. Yeah. And he was a legendary producer. He went into different realms. He could go into house, and he went into electro and stuff. And techno. Yeah, and techno. And tell us a little bit about your relationship with Aaron Carl. What you thought about him, what your relationship was like, and what kind of person he was. Speak about Aaron Carl.
So with Aaron, I met him formerly. I believe it was me and Mari Cleat. And we went to, the club was called Ambiance, and it was in like the 16th or 17th floor of the MGM Grand Casino. And so, or it might have been I take it back, it was Motor City. And we were at Motor City Casino. I can't remember who was throwing the party. It was a house music party. I went to try to catch Aaron's set, and I think something happened. I had my son around this time, actually. And I think I was almost late, missing his set, dropping him off. And as soon as I come in, I see him play, and he's tearing it down. So, you know, he jumps off, a couple other DJs that goes on, and I'm just still mingling. And over here to my left, you know, I get tapped on my shoulder on the right. Somebody points me in a direction. I look, and it's Aaron Carl. He stands about 5'10" or so. He was taller than me, 5'10", maybe 6 feet. And I went up to him. Hey, man, I'm a fan of somebody who, you know, I've been listening. Man, I think I was listening to him, I want to say the very last of the 80s. Definitely early mid-90s. And he was cool. He was humble. He was nice. He was kind. And then when he heard that I didn't tell him, my friend ended up telling him, kind of like, hey, you know, he does me this as well, referring to me. And he made a nice gesture and offered me that same advice to do it on your own. You don't have to sign with a label. You don't have to sign with the company. You can do this yourself because the people will still appreciate you. And at that time, I didn't really realize what that advice had meant. And that was something that kind of kept ringing once I started coming around, hanging out with Stingray, hanging out with Keith Tucker, Mike Banks. Like, that was a phrase that kept ringing. I want to say, I heard it first from Aaron Carl, to do it yourself, put it out yourself. And, you know, that's something that now I tell my own son, like, hey, because my son is an artist. He's a very great artist, and he draws. And I tell him the same thing. You can conduct yourself in a way where you are your own particular power. And so, you know, very blessed to have gotten that from him. I've ran into Aaron Carl a couple times. Outside of that, there's been long conversations every single time. He was always nice, always kind. We were talking, once Skype became a thing, we were talking on there, and, you know, he was always he was giving advice then. So he was always helpful, always kind, you know, and invite me out to events, man. And Aaron Carl was a very cool and very real individual. And I kind of wish I still had that particular Skype login to pull back up some of those conversations. It was actually multiple of us in a chat room. It was myself, it was Galaxian, it was I want to say Stingray was in this conversation, and a couple of others. And you know, it was just cool just gathering knowledge from him. And around that time, we did speak about working on a particular project of his. I was supposed to remix his Control N. Of all the music that he has made, which I've always loved his house music, his techno. I actually knew of his house music first, then his techno, and man, when I came across his Electro, I was like, this man is an animal.
He knew how to make good dance music.
Oh my God. When I came across, like, the techno was good, the house music was good, and then, like, once I hit that Electro catalog of his, I'm like, this guy, you know, and it reminded me a lot of me, because I love all genres. Just Electro is just that's my firstborn. That's my baby. That's it for me. And so Control N was a track where we all used to dance to. It was me and a bunch of other people. When that song came on in the clubs that we were going to, we went crazy. You had, of course, you had Down, you had Oasis, you had there was other prominent songs. There was the remixes to Down, but when Control N came on, like for the particular people that I was around and the clubs that I was going to at that time, man, it was amazing. I was very happy to kind of get his blessings to remix it, but once the situation ended up happening, I kind of just let it be. So, but God bless to him, man.
Yeah, blessings to Aaron Carl, man. Was a hell of a producer. Yeah. And I know he had
person.
I saw him a little bit before he passed away, and I think he really thought that a lot of people didn't like him, and it wasn't that music people didn't like him. He was he didn't like that a lot of producers seemed like they didn't like him, and that's why I assured him then, like, man, I love your stuff, love you. And, you know, I remember going to his last birthday party and stuff, and letting him know that you know, you appreciate it. Don't ever think you're not.
Absolutely. I've never heard anybody say anything bad about him, and the many interactions that I have had with him. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna put it to you like this, and this was another lesson that I learned from Aaron Carl. To make the long story short, you know, him and God, what is his name? Maaco's friend who runs Buy Right, Cliff. I heard this from Cliff too, and we were somewhere and they both were talking and they were like, you know, don't be so be, you know, respect your artists and the people that you look up to and things of that nature, but keep in mind that these people are still human beings, meaning don't be so starstruck.
Yeah. And
with that, if you don't know what I mean by that, you know, there's a saying where they say don't meet your heroes. And they say don't meet your heroes because you could be highly disappointed. And upon meeting a few heroes, I won't drop any names, I definitely get it. I definitely understand how, you know, highly disappointed. It's like you would think somebody's nice or kind or whatnot, and they are the complete opposite.
Or appreciate the support that they do have.
Yeah. And I can honestly say, Aaron Carl being one of the first individuals that I came across, and every interaction that I had with him beyond that, he was always nice, he was always kind. I never, you know, overheard any bad mouthing of him. You know, when he came into the room, people were very happy that he was there. So, you know, I'm unsure of anybody disliking Aaron Carl.
Yeah. Well, man, listen, thank you very much for we've been trying to make this happen for a while. You've been busy with life. I've been busy with life, a whole lot of stuff going on. And, man, thank you once again. Definitely always rooting for you, man, and like what you do. Thank you. We keep in contact all the time. You always let me hear some tracks and stuff, and what's vice versa, coming over to hang out, man. We just talk shop, you know, teaching you some things, asking me some questions, so it's not a problem at all. You remind me a lot of myself, because everybody used to make fun of me when I was doing it, like, man, this techno guy, that's all he like is this or whatever. And it's like, you know, okay, well, look where it got you. You know, if you really like it, man, if you really like it, it's going to show. Your music shows that. Anybody listen, go check out anything that's on this man's label. I'm going to have some links below. And I guarantee you will like it. You will dance. It will make you dance. He makes great music. Thanks again, man.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Shout outs. As always, take a look at this picture. This is my brother. He's 58 years old. If you know him or have seen him or know of his whereabouts, his name is Mark Antonio Tucker. Please contact me at Puzzlebox at puzzleboxrecords.com so we can catch back up with my brother and get him back into the family. We miss him. I love you, bro. I hope you're watching this. I hope somebody gives him this video. Reach out. Social media is a big world, man, and somebody should be able to show him this video or something. He was not really into computers and stuff, and I hope that somebody can show him this. But love you, bro, and I hope that you reach out. I want to give a special shout out him for doing this interview. A special shout out this week to a young and upcoming electro artist, Shawe Scape. He was featured in this week's, not this week. He was featured in this month's interview. His name is Shawe Scape, J. Shaw. Check him out. He's a new upcoming electro artist. He has his new label called Andromeda Galaxies. I think he's on his 3rd or 4th release, man. Check him out. Great guy, makes great music, and you'll be hearing a lot from him. He's an up and comer, man. Also, I want to send special shouts out to my moms and pops. We'll be calling you today, and I want to thank everybody. Can you believe it? Episode 144. That's 144 weeks in a row. Thank you all for supporting me. I have some important news coming up in the next 2 weeks, and I want to thank everybody who's been hitting me up lately on my social media. It's really gotten very popular with all the help and suggestions you've given me, and people reaching out for DJ dates and bookings and all that type of stuff. So I thank you so much. And once again, thank you for watching the K-1 Agenda. This has been episode 144. Thank you. Hey, I just wanted to say, everyone, please hit that subscribe button for YouTube, and please subscribe to my page. I really have enjoyed all the support I've been getting, but hey, like this and subscribe to this page. Keith Tucker K1. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you.